All right, welcome. This is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. Happy Sunday, guys. I apologize that I was not with you yesterday. Had a bit of an emergency, got in a little bit of a scooter accident, as you do. Had a little bit too much fun on the scooter at 18 miles per hour. So, basically, what happened is my hat started to fall off, and I went to go reach for my hat, lost control of the scooter, and just kind of almost did a face plant, except for I extended my arms out first, and then just kind of got a little bit of a road rash. But hey, it's okay. I'm here. I'm alive, and we will be off and cooking. So we have a few things to talk about. Obviously, there's a few things around the league. There's a few things regarding the Philadelphia Eagles, and we will be live with Patrick J shortly. Big Play Slay, welcome to the house, my man. Welcome. Happy Sunday, bro. Good to see you. Good to hear from you. Obviously, I can't see you, but it's good to hear from you, my man. Let's go ahead and get into a few things. So just first off, right off the bat, the Cowboys are rumored to be interested in former defensive tackle Jarron Reed from the Seattle Seahawks. That would not spell good news for us. Obviously, that's something that we know that they have to boost their their defensive line. Jalen Hurts, what's up, my man? Patrick J will be on with us in a bit. He's finishing up some work right now, as far as I'm concerned. But he will be live with us in a bit. So we're going to go ahead and bust out some Eagles rumors and around the league updates real quick. And the Chiefs, guys, the Chiefs are continuing to look to bolster their offensive line. They recently checked out Russell Okon. I kind of want to tie this into the Eagles real quick. What would you guys think? I know he's a little bit long in the tooth. Do you guys see the Eagles possibly? Do you guys think the Eagles should possibly bring him in for some veteran leadership along that offensive line? Because I do not want Jason Peters back, but I did value his leadership, and maybe Ocon could be exactly that in case we need depth. The other thing that I want to go ahead and touch on is the Eagles had quite a few prospect virtual visits. Obviously, the most notable one, guys, Asante Samuel Jr. Asante Samuel Jr. is my guy. He's a guy that I want to see the Eagles fucking go after. You know what I mean? Obviously we know his father really well, and I think that he would be a prime candidate for pick number 37, or possibly trading back into the first round. Big Play says, I don't see it happening, but I do see them taking Rashawn Slater if he falls. That's a good point. That is a good point. And I do want to kind of go over this whole draft. We are going to go over this draft order today because I have a few takes on some of the scenarios that could happen, and it is regarding Rashawn Slater. It's regarding Penei Sewell. It's regarding Christian Darrisaw. Here's the thing. The reason why I definitely want to go in depth about it is because obviously, as we stand right now, Cowboys, Giants are ahead of us. Giants need to find a way to protect Daniel Jones. If Slater and Penei Sewell are off the board, do the Giants just go ahead and go Darrisaw at 11? And does that push one of the playmakers that we want down to 12? So obviously, as you guys can tell, I am kind of insinuating that we are not going to talk about Mac Jones today. So you're welcome. Where were you guys yesterday? Says Dak is King. Dak is King. Welcome, my brother. Welcome to the channel. Happy Sunday. So I did kind of go over this, I think, right before you guys jumped on, but I'll go over it again. So I got into a little bit of an emergency yesterday. I'm kind of like band-aided all throughout my body right now. I had a little too much fun on one of the motor scooters. It was kind of one of my I basically was riding the scooter. I was having some fun. My hat decided it wanted to start to fly off my head. I went to go grab it, and then I lost control of the scooter when I did that. And then I came back down with my hand and I tried to regain control, but I ended up planting, too much weight, too much. You know what I'm getting at. But luckily for me, I made sure that I extended my arms. It's just that I got some pretty bad road rash, but nothing's broken. And I'm alive and I'm here with you guys now. So that's kind of what happened yesterday. So I was just not really feeling up to it. I apologize. I probably should have left you guys an update, but yeah, there's that. Big Play Slade says, I just want a plug-in player for the Eagles. Me too. We're going to talk about that. No problem. King Miro says goodbye to Kyle Pitts and Jamar Chase. Well, I'm not going to jump the gun on that. We're going to talk about that. I promise you that we will get to that. And I still think that there's a chance at least for Pitts. I think that there's a chance at least for Pitts. It might be slight. It might be slight, but I think that there's a bit of a chance, and we will definitely talk about that. Dak is King says, damn, bro, did Patty go with you? Are you okay? No, Patty did not. Patty did not go with me. I was at another buddy's house, and kind of spent the entire day with them yesterday. Did a barbecue, set up a tent in the backyard. It was a lot of fun. We basically set up a new tent in the backyard just because we're planning on going camping in Flagstaff, Arizona, sometime next weekend or maybe the week after. But so we wanted to see how big the tent actually is. It's about an eight person tent. And then we just, I had never ridden one of the motor scooters before, and I was just like, "Hey, buddy, can I try that scooter that you have?" And I was coasting, man. Like I was having fun. Like I was doing really good until I decided to put my hat on backwards, and then that was enough for the wind to say, "Listen, guy, I'm gonna blow that hat off your head, and I'm gonna throw you off this scooter." I was like, all right, but I was okay. There was no, I actually wanted to get right back on, but my buddy's wife was just like, "You're not, no." It was kind of funny. What are you doing, DB LMAO? Before we fully lose you, let's wait till the draft so we can draft Mac Jones. LOL. I mean, I don't know how to answer that. I don't know how to answer that. I don't even drink, and things like this happen to me. It's absolutely nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Jalen Hurtsme says Pitts and Chase will be long gone before us. I don't think so. That's the thing, is I don't think so. Chase probably, yes. Pitts there. I think that there's still a slight shot. Okay, so here, I'll go over this now just so we can kind of transition for whenever Patrick decides to jump on. Because we need to get this going. Draft order. So obviously it's going to be Trevor Lawrence at 1 and for the Jaguars. And then let's just say that at 2 it is going to be Zach Wilson. And then at 3, let's give the 49ers Trey Lance, right? Let's give the 49ers Trey Lance. I think the smart thing to do for the Falcons at 4, if we keep it how it is and the Panthers or the Broncos don't trade up, yeah, Patrick is the draft guy. Yeah, Patrick is the draft guy. That's funny. Unfortunately, that's why I love Patrick. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you this, that we saw a lot of people fall over the last 3 years. So just watch. The Giants needed offensive linemen. Listen, Patrick is still working. He's going to be back on in a few seconds. Kane Grayson, welcome to the channel, my man. Please like and subscribe. Yeah, we talk about all teams. We do each division deep dive. We're not going to be doing that today, but we'll definitely hit on a lot of different teams for sure. Big Play Slay says King Grayson. Yeah, absolutely. King Grayson says, I personally think Kyle Pitts will be gone before top 10 pick. Yeah, guys, I do too. I'm just saying that there is a slight chance that he could possibly still be here. And this is what I'm talking about. So just listen. Trevor Lawrence at 1, Zach Wilson at 2 to the Jets. Let's say it's Trey Lance at 3 to the 49ers. And then let's say that the Falcons take offensive lineman Penei Sewell. And then the Bengals take either Jamar Chase. They can either take Jamar Chase, they can take Kyle Pitts, or they can take another offensive lineman for Joe Burrow, who's not even fully healthy yet, because they do need another offensive lineman. And this is where Rashawn Slater could go. So that's what I'm talking about. So Penei Sewell and Rashawn Slater could go back to back. That's what I'm talking about. So if the Bengals take Rashawn Slater, then it's the Dolphins. Then it's the Dolphins who could take Jamar Chase. And then the Lions, the Lions could take Kyle Pitts. I guess you guys are right, but there's many different draft scenarios. And we'll certainly go over them. Your man bun looks good today, DB. Thank you, buddy. I did it just for you, Dak. I did it just for you. Somebody's got to appease the Cowboys fans. Howie fucked us again, said King. Why? So I'm guessing you don't. I guess that means you don't like the trade back. Big Play Slate says, but for real though, is there a team that would want Kyle Pitts in the top 10 other than the Bengals, who I'd assume are targeting an offensive lineman? Well, no, and that's a great question. Here's the thing, guys. You have to look at it this way. There's not a lot of offensive coordinators who are gonna be as creative as as people are assuming that Kyle Pitts is going to be used. Like Andy Reid, you can assume he's going to absolutely take advantage of the versatility of Kyle Pitts. But there's a lot of offensive coordinators in the league who won't be as creative as that. Like the Kyle Shanahans of the world will be able to do it. Bill Belichick will find a way to do it. Like, you got to think about it that way too. And so some of these guys are not going to value Kyle Pitts in the top 10. You got the top 15, yes. Top 10, no. Draft has a lot of variable for sure. Exactly. Falcons, Bengals, Dolphins, all would. Absolutely. King says, I feel like we jump ahead of Cowboys again and take Kyle Pitts. Imagine. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I talked about, King. Us being behind two of our division rivals after we traded back just seems a little odd. You know what I mean? It really does. Like if they nail on their draft picks and we do not, Philadelphia Eagles fans are going to be absolutely enraged with High Roseman again. So Kane Grayson says, if 3 quarterbacks get taken before 4, which will happen, I think Falcons for sure go Pitts. Yeah, no, it's a possibility. I mean, they do have to get a playmaker. They do have to get a playmaker for Matt Ryan, because Matt Ryan's not done. But I could see them easily going, wide receiver there too, to replace Julio Jones, or to get the heir apparent for Julio Jones. You know what I mean? So like Jamar Chase there would make sense. But it also depends, like which teams like that's the thing is like the wide receivers like the Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, and Jamar Chase. Like you know, there are GMs that are battling it out in their heads. Like which one is better than the other. Like Jalen Waddle has regained his stock over the last couple months or so, and we've seen that. And so is one of these GMs in the top 10 going to rank like Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle over Jamar Chase? That's the thing. That's the thing. There's so many like it all depends on how the board falls, but I believe that there is a group of players that obviously are going to go in the top 10, and that is, the Trevor Lawrences of the world, the Zach Wilsons, the Trey Lance, the Penny Sewells, the Jamar Chase, the Kyle Pitts, and Rashawn Slater's. I would think Jalen Hurts says, I would think that Panthers also could take Pitts if they solve their QB issue elsewhere and they don't have QB they want at 8. Yeah, exactly. I mean, but the Panthers could be a possible trade up scenario. There's a lot of analysts and a lot of people that think that the Falcons are actually going to trade out. So that's another thing to think about too. And what that means if they trade with the Panthers. They're not like, that division is not like the NFC East where they probably would make a trade. But what does that look like, and how would they be able to pull that off? Or the Broncos could make a trade to the Falcons to trade up and grab a guy as well. And what do you think the options are if they decide to find a guy somewhere else? Because Deshaun Watson's probably not going to be playing. One thing we have to consider is teams might trade up to take Pitts. He's that kind of talent. Okay, so here's the thing. All right, so we're gonna definitely go over scenarios where there's a slight possibility that he can fall, but let's go with this for right now. If Pitts is off the board, what would you guys want to do at 12? Because there have been a lot of articles coming out that the Eagles are completely fucked and that the talent drop off is so vast, when in my opinion it's really not. It's really not. The issue is the thing is this is like, you might still have Patrick Surtain or Caleb Farley or JC Horn on the board. We might still have Micah Parsons still on the board. Like there's a lot of guys that might still be on the board. Devontae Smith might still be on the board. Things of that nature. What do I think? Kane Grayson says, what do I think about all these cornerbacks climbing up? I absolutely love it, Kane. I absolutely love it. JC Horn especially. I talked about this about a month ago. I like that there's a lot of guys coming into this draft with a lineage. Like JC Horn, obviously the son of Hall of Famer Joe Horn, Asante Samuel Jr., Patrick Surtain is another one. But I don't really see Patrick Surtain getting past the Cowboys at 10. I really don't. And I really do have a strong belief that the Giants will take an offensive lineman. King Miro says, I want cornerback at 12. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Here's the thing. I mean, look, we could either go. I think at least one of three of these cornerbacks are gonna be on the board. JC Horn, Patrick Surtain, Caleb Farley. And in a lot of people's eyes, JC Horn is climbing up into that 2 spot where they're tied. I think in a lot of debates, like Caleb Farley and Patrick Surtain are debatably tied for first as far as the cornerback rankings are concerned, and JC Horn is like jumping up there. Jalen Hurts Eagles actually have a lot of options, but I think they go offense. Yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, the thing is, this is you kind of have to tie it back to Devonte Smith being in touch with Jalen Hurts right now during this entire process. Big Play Slay says if you stood pat at pick 12, you have to go corner. But what I would do is trade down for Rashad Bateman. Yeah, who would you trade? Who would you trade down to? What pick? What range? Um, I think I would. I think I would go as far as. I think I would probably go as far as either Patriots or 18 with Miami, maybe. And what that looks like, we'd have to see. I think Patrick Surtain will be a bust. Yeah. I mean, that's a tough one. That really is a tough one. But we'll just have to see. Patrick, welcome, my man. Happy Sunday, dude.
How you doing, guys?
Everybody's good. We got a new subscriber in here. We got Kane Grayson. Kane Grayson is in the chat, and hopefully he's happy to be here so far. We got Jalen Hurtsme. We got King Miro. We got Big Play Slay. Obviously, your brotherly romance partner.
How you guys doing? King
good.
Grayson, if that's your real name, that's an awesome name. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no. So like here, I'll just go ahead and update you real quick. So right now we're talking about draft and we're talking about prospects. And my belief is that there is a slight chance that Kyle Pitts could possibly still fall to 12. And I wanted you and I to go over that because I really do. As I've gone over it, and I've gone over it a few times, actually a lot of times over the last like 24 to 48 hours. I really don't see any other direction for the Giants to go other than offensive line. And so I could see Darisaw going, and I could see Slater going to the Bengals, and I could see I could see Falcons and Bengals taking offensive linemen back to back. So that's Sewell and that's Slater, and then I'll let you fill in the rest. But that's kind of one of the things we're talking about right now. There's a lot of the other thing is that there's a lot of articles that are coming out, and I really don't understand it. Like the Eagles just fucking screwed themselves as far as talent drop off is concerned when we really didn't. Like at least one of the top corners is going to still be available. Michael Parsons might still be available. There's going to be let's just go ahead and jump into that and get going on that. And what's your take on that, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, you know my take on it. I think it's a little too premature to say that, especially if the board goes how we have it going. Eagles are still. I mean, I personally am on the board where I think they got a fairly decent value. They gained an extra first rounder next year, and they're still. I think they're still going to be able to pick their top. One of the top guys at number 12, especially with all these quarterbacks going at top 10, you should be able to pick one of the top guys still at 12 while gaining that first rounder next year. I mean, anything can happen. I think just talking about Kyle Pitts, I think it's a long shot for them to drop all the way down to 12, but I mean, there is a possibility. If you're realistically looking at, like the three guys like Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase, or Kyle Pitts, I mean, probably Kyle Pitts has the most chance to drop down to 12. If you were to look at how the board is set up. But at the end of the day, maybe those articles are just saying that, Eagles took themselves away from the conversation of these three. But I mean, yeah, these are some bona fide talents that we were talking about, but like you said, they should be able to take either one of the top quarterback prospects. Micah Parsons could be available there. One of the wide receiver prospects are going to be available there. One of the offensive linemen could be available there. I mean, so Eagles have a lot of options, and those are all the positional needs for them. So I don't think I actually applaud them for what they did, to be completely honest with you. Once they realized they're not going to be able to get the quarterback that they wanted, I mean, I think they maximized the value in what they had. So I'm on that board more than anything.
Yeah, exactly. Here, let me do something here real quick. So just 6 to 12. So we have the Dolphins. What do you think the Dolphins do?
I mean, depends on how do you have your top 5 going so far?
Top 5. I have Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance,
Uh-huh.
and then I'm gonna say Penei Sewell and Rashawn Slater.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing for me. I don't think Falcons go offensive line at all. I think it comes down to an offensive weapon for them or a quarterback. I think there's a real possibility they take Fields here. I think there's a real possibility they trade back and some other team comes up here and take Fields. But I think if Falcons stay there, I think they go.
Right. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I think that they'll trade. I actually do think that they'll trade back, but just without trades. Yeah, without trades, I think that's what I'll have. But who do you have them taking if they are going to take a playmaker?
I think it comes down to Kyle Pitts, in my opinion. I don't think they go wide receiver, so I think they go Kyle Pitts or a quarterback. Ultimately, I think this is a spot like if Kyle Pitts get past Atlanta Falcons, I think there's a real possibility he drops to 12. But right now, I think they go Kyle Pitts or Josh Fields. At the moment, I actually have all four quarterbacks going top four. So I think I have Fields going to Falcons at 4 or someone else at 4. So I realistically have Pitt still passing there. I think Bengals go Penei Sewell. I totally agree with you. And if that's the case, I mean, regardless, in that scenario, Jamar Chase would be available at 6, and I think that's where Dolphins go with. I think they go with Chase.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. I mean, I don't know if we'll get to 12. I mean, I could see if Kyle Pitts gets even close to 8 or 9 or I could see the Cowboys trying to do something. Honestly, I really could.
Yeah.
Blake Jarwin, you think they like Blake Jarwin?
Who, the Cowboys?
Yeah. Think they like Blake
I think
Jarwin
they
that
do.
much?
I think
No,
they do, but I think the main thing with the Cowboys, I have no scenario that they don't take a cornerback. Surtain or Horn's going to be available for them, and there's no way that if either of those guys are available, it gets past the Cowboys.
Well, I mean, unless they want to take a linebacker, but you and I kind of already talked about that, where it's like
Right.
they do have those 3 linebackers, especially with Dan Quinn coming in and running the 4-3.
Sure.
Sean Lee, obviously Jalen Smith, and then
Sure.
Vander Esch. All right, well, let's go ahead and do 6 through 12 then. Who do you have the Dolphins taking?
I have the Dolphins taking Jamar Chase. I mean, if we're going off of I mean, let's use your prediction. I mean, let's say those 2 tackles, Sewell and Slater, go 4 and 5. I think the Dolphins take Jamar Chase still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't foresee them taking anybody else other than, I mean, you got this top wide receiver there to help Tua. I mean, I think they go Chase over Pitts just because, I mean, they already have Mike Gesicki, and I think they need some more help on the outside as far as receivers are concerned. So I think it's a no-brainer for them.
For sure. I like it. Well, I mean, we'll get more into this, and that's fine. One of the things I did bring up earlier as well, Patrick, is the Eagles at a virtual visit with Asante Samuel Jr. as well. So that's pretty cool. Obviously he's one of those guys that I like a lot. So I'm hoping that he's there at 37. The other thing too is they also had a virtual visit with one of the defensive linemen that I like too, out of West Virginia, Darius Stills. Has a great quick first step off the defensive line, and so that's something that we will need. That's something that we will need, out of the defensive tackle position. We will need to find some guys that can come in and possibly be developmental guys so that we can get younger there. So.
I didn't know you guys had a visit with him, but yeah, like you say, he's a really quick mover off the snap, and then he creates a constant pressure. He can disrupt pockets, and he's a straight ahead rusher, so he's very disciplined. He's going to be a very good rotational 3 technique guy. He can definitely develop into a starter. So I mean, that's a great option for you guys towards once you get into the second day. So
yeah, definitely. I'm hoping that a player like that is gonna be there, maybe somewhere around 70. It might be pushing it, but I'm not, not entirely sure. But we'll see. We'll see. It depends
Yep.
on how the board plays out, as we've been saying all along. Another thing that I touched on as well, obviously the Chiefs checked on Russell Okon. I'm sure you heard. They're still trying to bolster that offensive line. Another thing as well, the Vikings went ahead and signed Xavier and Howard
Yes.
to a 1 year deal. So that's not bad. I mean, he's a little bit up there in the long in the tooth. Did you want to touch on that signing a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good signing. I think, obviously he's lost a step or two, I believe, in the recent years, but I mean, it's a decent depth move for them. I don't think Xavier Woods is coming in there to necessarily be like a top tier safety for them, but I mean, he does have a good system fit as far as what the Vikings run. And he does have a really good high upside. So I mean, I think that's a decent signing at only $2 million. Let's see, as far as like different, I mean, it's been a slow news day in my opinion, but I mean, I think it's a decent signing for him. And then yeah, I think all signs are like the free agency is kind of slowing down, dude. And we're going back to this speculation of how the draft's going to play out.
Yeah, no, I know, and it's crazy. It's crazy. We were hit with a bomb on Friday, and was kind of expecting a little bit more throughout the weekend, but there really wasn't much going on. So I think everybody was a little bit as shocked as you were yesterday about my absence.
Yeah, where were you? I honestly was ready to go, and then
I know.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing, guys. I didn't even tell Patrick what happened. I was in a little bit of a scooter accident.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I fucked up my I got pretty bad road rash. So what happened was I was having some fun on a scooter and did a couple like five, I was going up the street like 5 or 6 times, and then all of a sudden like I my hat, the wind started to blow my hat off, and I went to go reach for it, and then lost control and tried to bring my hand back down. But as soon as I did that, then I just kind of like, the tip forward and crashed. And you don't want to see my hands right now. My hands, both hands are completely shredded. Like, I mean, like palms. So like, it's hard to really do anything.
We ain't young anymore, man. We can't be doing that kind of stuff.
Oh, I was ready to go. I was ready to go once I got back up, dude. It was I'm just playing. It was a bit of a shock. Like it felt like I couldn't move my ankle at first, but then all of a sudden, like I was like, okay. I laid there for like a minute, and then I was like, okay, and then I kind of like tested it out. It's like, I'm good. A lot of blood. I wish you were there to just check it out.
Man, I like blood. I like that kind of stuff. So you should have taken some pictures, man.
Big Play says like Patrick heard the story last. That's funny. Kane Grayson says Darius Stills would be a solid pick, but I'll go late second, right? Maybe I could see him going. Early third. I could see him going early third. I really could. I mean, there's so much talent in this draft, guys. Yes, I could see him going. I could see him going in the late second if it were any other draft. But there's so many. There is really a lot of talent in this draft. Like there's a lot of wide receivers that can be taken in the second. There's a lot of wide receivers that might get pushed up to the first. Like Terrence Marshall could be either like Terrence Marshall's like a first or a second guy, and that's why he's hard to like put a pulse on too. Asante Samuel Jr. is another guy. Samuel Cosme has been ranked, from like early second to like early third. The other tackle out of Clemson. There's a lot. Greg Newsome has been all over the fucking board. So like Eric Stokes ran a 4.2. So like he's jumping up. Like all of these cornerbacks are jumping up. And that's, King Grayson, you brought that up a little bit earlier. And like a lot of these guys, like there's a lot of there's a lot of players right now. There's a lot of prospects doing pretty darn well at their pro days, and it's making things a little bit complicated for rankings. Like, for example, most talked about one is, or one of the most talked about ones is probably J.C. Horn and how well he's jumped up the ladder, and then obviously, Zach Wilson and how he's jumped up the ladder, and then there's Justin Fields and how he's dropped down the ladder a little bit. I think the analysis of him like being slow on his reads really kind of threw him in a bad light, or put him in a bad light.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Justin Fields was like, before this draft started, we were all talking about who's the second best quarterback, and it was between Zach Wilson and Justin Fields, and then like now, it's no question it's Zach Wilson, and even Trey Lance has kind of leapfrogged over him. So yeah, his draft stock has definitely taken some a blow for sure. But I mean, like I honestly think I honestly think there's going to be 4 quarterbacks at top 4, dude.
No, I agree. I do too. I think there might be 5.
Yeah, possible.
Like I wouldn't like I said, like I don't think we're done. And it could be, and it's obviously, I think it could be 3. I think like I don't want to talk about Mac Jones today, but I think he could still go in the top 10. Because I could see the Broncos. I could still see the Broncos taking him. Like regardless of what we think should happen, like John Elway always reaches for quarterbacks. There hasn't been one fucking instance where he hasn't reached for a quarterback. You know what I mean? So you have to think about that too.
No, yeah, it's like there's so much variables, going on, and then like John Elway is one of those guys that like you just never know what he's gonna do, honestly. So I get it.
But I don't see them like I see them either going quarterback or cornerback, because I could see them taking Caleb Farley too. So
yeah,
But hey, so there's also been a report that came out on Bleacher Report that the Eagles are unsure about Jalen Hurts. So I think we were kind of right on the money with the fact that like this doesn't spell, this like them trading back doesn't have anything to do with them confirming Jalen Hurts for 2021. Did you see the report, Patrick, and what do you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's right on the money. As far as like, it's just a fact that if they were sold on Jalen Hurts, they wouldn't have even been looking at Zach Wilson or going to pro day for Trey Lance. Like those are some due diligence that you don't necessarily have to do if you were sold on your quarterback. And I think the Eagles definitely did explore some options as to improving their stance as far as the quarterbacks are concerned. But I agree with you, and I agree with the report. I mean, it's a weird situation for Jalen Hurts to be in. Like he knows that he knew that he had to come in and prove himself. But if he does come into the camp as an Eagles quarterback, he knows himself that he has to prove not only the people outside of the organization, but the inside the organization again. But I mean, I think the Eagles are going to go right down to the draft day to see if there's any chance they can improve upon that position, and then rightfully so. I mean, Jalen Hurts is still an unproven commodity, and I think they should do everything they can to improve that situation for sure.
Yeah, no, I.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think the Eagles move away from that quarterback idea?
Yes, I've slept on it.
Okay.
I don't think Justin Fields is better than, just to answer some of these questions. I will highlight some of them, or maybe not, just because I'm going to kind of wrap all the questions up about Justin Fields into this one answer. I don't think Mac Jones is better than Jalen Hurts at this point in time. I don't think Justin Fields is better than Jalen Hurts at this point in time. And so I think that if you were to take a quarterback at 12 or 6, you would have to pick a guy that's going to be better than Jalen Hurts at this point in time. Zach Wilson probably was going to be that guy. And so I think that's why they kind of did it that way. And they just lost out. And that's okay. That's okay. They set themselves up for next year if Jalen Hurts isn't the guy. But I mean, we'll get into that in a second. But I mean, they really have. They set themselves up in a way where they really can build. They can use all these draft picks to go out and get, weaponry on both sides of the ball. And then if they need to, if Jalen Hurts doesn't pan out, then he doesn't pan out, and then you do everything you possibly can to get, his replacement next year. The thing is this is that you kind of have to. I mean, I want it to be I want it to be Jalen, because here's the thing: guys want to play for him. He seems to have a magnetism that not a lot of players have. But there are ones that do, and those guys that do have it are leaders in this game. And so I feel like if he shows that he can play as a starter on a consistent basis for this team, then that's pretty much close to completing the package that you would want at that position. And so, that's it. And I think Devontae, I think him being in contact with Devontae Smith reeks Devontae Smith at 12. I think it reeks Devontae Smith at 12. But let me go ahead and answer this real quick though. Who do you think the Cowboys will take at 11? I don't think that they let Patrick Surtain get out of their hands if he's there. So I'm going to go Patrick Surtain for the Cowboys at 11. And then we can go back right into what we were talking about, Patrick, because the Eagles are at 12. What do you think about everything I just said about Jalen Hurts?
I haven't moved away from my stance when it comes to Jalen Hurts. I think I really like him as a quarterback. I really like his potential going forward, and I think the Eagles should invest a little bit more to surround him with some talent and see what they have in him. I don't necessarily agree with unless you are getting the guy that that you're going to build around. You just can't have a question mark going into this draft. If you're in Eagles position, you have to nail this draft.
Yeah.
So I'm with you when it comes to that. I do want the Eagles to surround Jalen Hurts with as much talent as they can as building block, and then see what he can really do. And then we can kind of go from there. But I think the Eagles have something in Jalen Hurts. And I don't necessarily know about Devontae Smith, like you said. I mean, I think players do that, their connections and all that stuff. I think we kind of mentioned the whole Kyler Murray and CeeDee Lamb thing. They'll recruit and they'll do their best, but the teams will ultimately go with whoever they think is best fit for them. Especially in Jalen Hurts' position, where he doesn't have a whole lot of pull in the organization quite yet.
Yeah, I'm not putting all my eggs in that one. I'm just saying that we can tell what I'm saying that Jalen. It seems like Jalen might want Devontae. They played together, and so it makes sense for Jalen to want a guy from Alabama. You know what I mean? So if they were to go that route, that would make sense.
Right, you're right. That's what I meant. It's I'm sure it makes sense as far as chemistry and stuff is concerned. I just don't think his words or his desire is going to have that much pull on Eagles decision making. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, exactly. Kane Grayson says Quiddy pay all the way. I'm gonna touch on this in a second. I like Quiddy. I actually do like Quiddy pay. I'm gonna touch on that in a second, because it kind of revolves around a bigger issue, or not an issue, but a bigger topic, which is, guys, I just don't think we can fuck up with the 12th pick, to be honest with you, unless they take Asante Samuel Jr. at 12. And we'll talk about that in a second. Toxic Falcon says, why haven't the Eagles fired Howie Roseman? I don't know. I don't know, Toxic Falcons. It's a great, phenomenal question, because Jeffrey Lurie, I don't know, because he buys Jeffrey Lurie tasty cakes from Philadelphia, the butterscotch crimpets, because he gets, mint chocolate chip ice cream hand delivered to his house every morning or every night or every evening, because I don't know. It's a great question. It's a great question. I love that we have Falcons fans asking us, why haven't the Eagles fired Howie Roseman? It's great.
Patrick. Hey, man. It's just a
Hey,
running
man.
joke in the NFL.
Like he could be the team accountant. Like that would be fine. Like that's perfectly fine. But like we need a personnel guy. We need a draft specialist.
You
Howie's the
know,
best thing to happen to the Cowboys. Yeah, you're welcome, Dak.
I think that's what Howie needs to do better, in my opinion. Howie needs to really let the guys that work around him to do their job. He has to kind of step back and let the scouting department do their job and stuff. But I feel like he kind of oversteps his boundary all the time, and he ultimately makes a dumb decision. But I mean, we talked about Howie so many times. Like I feel like we're just repeating ourselves at this point. So
yeah, exactly. Toxic Falcon says, "Were you mad when they fired Doug?" No, I was not. I was mad when they traded Carson. Everybody's aware of that in this channel. Don't worry, I'm not gonna rant today about that, guys. It's gonna be okay. Yeah, no, Doug was a fucking tree. I mean, I'm excited for Nick Sirianni. I'm glad that we're actually exploring and we're getting away from the Andy Reid tree. I think Jeffrey Lurie tried to replicate what Andy Reid brought to this organization by going that route. And it just didn't pan out. So I'm excited to see Nick Sirianni, and I think he did a phenomenal job hiring his staff. Upstart one-on-one. Welcome, my man. Welcome. Another loyal subscriber. I haven't seen you in a while. To be honest, we have so many holes that you would think it would be hard for Howie to screw up that 12th pick. Then again, it's Howie. Anything's possible. Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Here's the thing. Yeah, no, and this brings this back to exactly what I want to talk about. It is going to be hard to screw up this pick. Guys, we look, okay, Kyle Pitts is probably going to be gone. Let's just get it out in the open. Kyle Pitts is probably going to be gone. What I was talking about earlier, I wasn't saying that he was going to drop to 12. I wasn't under the guise of some, disillusionment. I was just saying that there might be a slight chance, because there's always a slight chance that Tom Brady falls to the 6th round. We don't have to talk about it. But JC Horn is probably going to might still be there. Caleb Farley might still be there. Patrick Surtain might even still be there. One of those corners is still going to be there. Micah Parsons might still be there. There are a lot of good players in this first round. And yes, exactly. Perfect point. We have so many holes that it kind of borderlines on the fact, Patrick, that as long as they don't reach, they can pretty much nail the 12th pick. They really can. They could take Rashawn Slater or maybe even Christian Darrisaw at 12, and I don't know how you feel about Christian Darrisaw. I think we've talked about him maybe 2 months ago, but I think he's going to be good too. Or Christian Barmore, he's going to be these guys are going to be good. It's just about draft position and whatnot. But I could see Christian Barmore, for example, defensive tackle, out of Alabama, and he could be the heir apparent to Fletcher Cox. That's how good he is. And so it will be hard to fail number 12. Patrick, do you want to jump on this boat, buddy?
Yeah, I told you, I think I'm on more of a field where you need to just let the draft board play out. The Eagles did, I think, what was smart for them to do, and just let the draft board play out, and just everybody has to just hold their horses and just relax, because it's going to be okay, because there's going to be a good player available at 12 no matter what. Like you said, if you want to go cornerback route, JC Horn or Patrick Surtain might be available there. Micah Parsons might be available there. Zaven Collins might be available there.
Jason Away.
If you want an edge, you can have Kwity Paye or Jason Away could be available there. If you want a receiver, Devontae Smith is going to be available there. Even Jalen Waddle might be. If you're looking for a lineman, Elijah Vera Tucker, or like you said, Darrisaw might be available there. So there's a ton of names that's going to be available. So like you said, as Eagles fans, you just have to hold your horses, just let the draft board play out. The Eagles did the smart thing, but if they did their best to get their quarterback and it didn't work out, so now it's time for them to really surround their team with the good talent. And yeah, you're correct. They cannot mess up this number 12 pick, but you can just let the draft board play out, and then there's going to be a lot of teams.
Yeah,
a lot of options available. So
exactly. I don't think that they can. I don't think that they can fail it. That's the thing. That's
right.
the thing. I don't really. I think Howie did a great job of putting himself in a position to kind of succeed in all, or like making him like giving himself the ability to have to be open to so many scenarios that it's hard. It's going to be hard to fail, and that's why I still think that they're going to try and get some more picks. I don't think they're done whatsoever. They still got to move Zach Ertz all the way back to the Babylonians.
You're Babylonians and my Phoenicians, man. We can go all the way.
Phoenicians and Babylonians. But yeah, no, I like that's still got to happen. I still think, I wouldn't be opposed to the Fletcher Cox thing. I think you and I talked about that off air a little bit. I don't know if I brought that on air. Did I bring that on?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. But like I said, like it's a good idea, but his cap hold is too big, so I don't think it's realistic for you to get anything of value at this point. But I mean, it's a good option to explore for sure, like you said.
They probably already. I mean, that's one of those things that you can renegotiate. You can negotiate at time of trade too.
Right. And then like, like kind of going back to your other thing that you were talking about, like this draft is deep and Eagles are in a good position to really like surround themselves with the good talent, so like if they were to go cornerback route, if they were to pick up a stud like JC Horn in the second round, when you get to 37, you'll have options like Marshall or Kadarius Toney as a wide receiver if you're looking for that, or if you're looking for a cornerback, Asante Samuel is going to be available there. I mean, there's a lot of options in this draft, so you kind of just have to let the draft board play out to 12. And then, like, if you're not going to trade up or anything like that, you let the draft board play out to 37. There's going to be a lot of talent that's available still at that position. So,
right. I think the middle name and the last name is reversed. Big Play Slay. Big Play Slay says Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa will be available at 12. How would you feel about a team taking Jock that high? Patrick.
Yeah, sorry, he's not a first round talent. I mean, he's going to go in second round. I don't think you have to take him in the first round necessarily. He's going to be available for you at 37 if you wanted to really take him. It's Osu Koromoa, so I think that's his last name. I think it's hyphenated, but regardless, he's going to be an impact defender. He's got a really big explosion. He has a lot of versatility. He's going to provide a lot of pressure. He can be a really good will linebacker. He's going to be a 3-down linebacker. There's a chance they can work him as a Mike linebacker, but I think he's best suited as a will side. He's really a bright guy. Like I said, he's got plenty of experience being a pressure player up the middle. He can even be like those like pseudo secondary as a third safety if he needs to. And he's really good at man-to-man reps against like wide receiver, especially in the slot too. So he's got a lot to offer. He can really fit it really well into that blitz-oriented pass rush defense. So I think it's a reach for you to take him at 12, but at 37 that might be a good option because yeah, he's going to be available at 37.
I like him. You and I talked about him a couple months ago. I like him because you can move him around, like sub linebacker spots. You could have him at safety, things like that. Because he's one of those. He's like 6'2", like 218, isn't he?
Yep, you're right on the money. 6'2", 216. He weighed in at his pro day.
Okay, cool. Oh, guys, what do you guys got? Some fighting words going about Devontae Smith here? Come on now. I can fight you that Smith will not be a bust. He will not be a bust. Now I have to bust out my vintage action figure voiceover. Jeez Louise. Hey, I actually want to jump on this debate. So because Patrick, that I was hesitant on Smith, and I'm starting to creep in on the Devontae Smith train where He did. He was weighed in at 163, I think, throughout the season. 6'1", 163 throughout that college season. But he did weigh in on his pro day at 170, didn't he?
175 actually. Yeah. He put on
175.
some weight. Yeah.
And he wants to gain more weight. So
Mhm.
so at that point, like 175, I mean, if he gains like at least 7 more pounds, like that's fine. 6'1", 182 is not bad.
Not at all.
No, or 6'1", 180 is not bad. And plus, like he got the he got the endorsement from Chad Johnson, which is a big endorsement. You know what I mean? But he kind of loves on everybody, but still, like it's Chad Johnson. And like Big Play Slay says, or Toxic Falcon says, oh wait, let me go ahead. Hold on. Rewind. At Toxic Falcons, I'm not going to agree with you on that based on the fact that his press of the line is impressive, especially for a 175 pounder. And if he gains 10, 20 pounds in the offseason, he's good. Yeah, agreed. I mean, obviously you would like the 6'1" wide receiver to be like somewhere around 190 or 188. So I mean, yeah, if he can keep up his agility, his speed, his fluidity and his routes at that weight, then hey, more the merrier. All power to him, right, Patrick?
Yeah, he's like any type of undersized guys. They're gonna always get kind of, like shitted on. To be honest with you, coming out, but like you said, like he gained some
Shat
weight,
like a bird.
for sure. But he got up to 175. Like let's just talk about his like positives because he's full of it. He's a natural wide receiver. He's a playmaker. You saw his Heisman season. He's a phenomenal route runner. He's explosive. He's a threat to score. Every time he touches a ball, you feel like he can really go and score. He's got tremendous run after catch skills, and he uses his like small frame really well. He's really elusive. He's got really big play speed, quick feet. He's got a good body control. He can leap. He has high points the ball really well. He's really instinctive. Like he's a durable guy for a small frame dude, and he's experienced. I mean that's something that you can't say a lot about these guys. He's an experienced guy. He's played a ton of games for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and that's a pro style offense over there at SEC that he plays.
I know.
Yeah, he excelled against elite competition, and I think a lot of people don't really put a lot of stock into that, but it is really important to see. Like a lot of guys from big school, they are battle tested. They can really come out there and they're like actually a step ahead of a lot of guys from smaller school because they've gone up against like a pro style defense a lot. He can defeat double teams. We talked about it. He was behind Calvin Ridley and Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs on depth chart, so he got to learn a lot from these guys. But he like look what he put out like in 2020, 117 catches for over almost 2,000 yards and 23 touchdowns. Those were ridiculous numbers for a wide receiver to go out and win a Heisman like that. He's a deadly dynamic weapon. He can be a number one wide receiver here. He just has to gain more weight, like everyone said. But I think he's shown that he's willing to and he's going to. He could really fit well, and he's a complete package guy. He could fit really well into split end receiver. He can work really well on the sidelines too, and he can challenge teams vertically. He's gonna be a Pro Bowler, in my opinion. I would have to disagree with whoever it was that said that he's not going to be. He reminds me a lot. I mean, I know Antonio Brown's a little bit shorter, but he reminds me a lot of him. Antonio Brown, remember, he was 5'10", 185 pounds. That was it. But remember, see the numbers that he was able to put up.
Well, that's a bit. So that's a bit different. Like 5'10", 185. Like that's actually big
right.
for a 5'10" guy.
I just meant like his skill sets are very similar to Antonio Brown. He's an ideal Z receiver who can really operate all over the field. He's got a versatility to be a boundary guy. He can take advantage of the mismatches as far as his speed is concerned too, or like against the shorter quarterbacks. So yeah, as long as he puts on his weight, even at 175, he can even get to 185. Like you said, I'd be really comfortable saying that he's going to be a Pro Bowl guy.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. Toxic Falcon says, "Can we agree Falcons make great wide receivers?" Well,
absolutely.
Wait. Let me jump on this. They traded the farm for Julio Jones because Julio Jones was already going to be great. Fine, I'll just give you your credit. Yeah, sure. Toxic Falcons, sure. Do you want to say anything, Patrick?
No, I agree. I strongly disagree with him on Devontae Smith. I disagree. I totally have to give you this one. You guys always have a Calvin Ridley's going to be a stud for years. I'll tell you that.
I don't think So I think we both agree that Devontae Smith will be a Pro Bowl wide receiver, but who will be the better wide receiver? You have a few options. Mind you. Now, because Jalen Waddle is great with yards after the catch too, so that whole thing, I kind of want to nix that out because like Jalen Waddle is great at it.
Are we talking just between those two guys, or
no? Of course not. No, I'm gonna throw out your list. Don't be impatient, Nancy. Don't make me have to call Sid.
There's no list. It's Jamar Chase. There's no list.
That's not. Wait. Okay.
There's no list.
We'll
if
see.
You're talking about the best
let me exclude Jamar Chase, guys. Okay, we're excluding Jamar Chase because he's obviously the number one wide receiver in this class. Jalen Waddle, number one, and this isn't due to ranking, so everybody. All right, so Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Terrence Marshall, Rashad Bateman, Kadarius Toney, Rondell Moore. Go.
Who's my favorite?
Who's going to be better? If you were forecasting the career of one of these guys, who's going to have the better career?
Out of all of them?
Yes.
At this point, on March 28th, I will say Jalen Waddle 1, Rashad Bateman 2, and Devontae Smith 3. And that's saying a lot more about the other two guys because I'm very high on Devontae Smith. Like I said, I think he has a potential to be a Pro Bowl guy. But Jalen Waddle and Rashad Bateman, there's.
I agree. I agree with you.
Actually. Here I go again. Here I go with my long rants about receivers.
No, you're fine. I agree with you. I actually like because I think Bateman I think Bateman and Toney would be 1 and 2 if they are juniors, aren't they? Both of them. I think both of them are juniors.
Bateman can you hear me? Yeah, Bateman is a junior, but
Toney is a junior too. I think both of them. They both stayed another year. I think they'd be 1 and 2 next year. No, hands down.
Correct.
Hands down.
Yeah. So if you don't let me talk about Jamar Chase, because Jamar Chase is the best.
Just go, you weirdo. Just talk. Yeah.
Jamar Chase. Don't make
me send a pixelated slap.
Okay, so continuing my thoughts.
Go.
Jalen Waddle is an explosive playmaker. He already has it's a little bit weird to talk about him and his size because he is also small. He's only 5'10".
That's what she said.
Yes. But he's very, very fast. We all know that he's a very fast guy. He's a threat to score and rip off on long gains on any touch, just like Devontae Smith. He's got really good first step quickness. He's a deep threat receiver. He stretches the defense vertically better than Devontae Smith, in my opinion. And Devontae Smith is I consider him very good at run after catch skills. I think Jalen Waddle is elite when it comes to run after catch. He's as elusive as a guy can get. He has that big play speed, just like Devontae Smith. He has extremely good athleticism. Once again, I'm going back to the experience portion of it. He's very experienced playing in that pro style offense with the Alabama. He had a lot of great talent around him. All the guys that I talked about, and Devontae Smith. It's ridiculous how much Crimson Tide has as far as like their talent's concerned. They're just star-studded. They're star-studded. There's no doubt that Waddle's an explosive playmaker. He can score in any reception. His deep speed allows him to line up again outside or in the slot, and his speed's going to catch up to nobody. He's a mismatch just waiting to happen. There are some things that he can be better at. He is still raw. Devontae Smith is a much better route runner. And like I said, he does have to use his skills and his explosiveness to like kind of make up for his short and undersizedness, but he definitely has the ability to succeed in this league. I mean, if we're talking comps again, Antonio Brown's a good comp. Tyreek Hill's a good comp. Tyreek Hill's only 5'10" too, but you know what he can do. He just has, as long as he's given a good situation and good surroundings, he's gonna be the guy. And then sorry for keep talking, but and then when we move on to Rashad Bateman, it's like totally different when it comes to him. He is the best route runner, in my opinion, in this draft class besides Jamar Chase. He tracks the ball down really well. He's got really good hands. He's got really good body control. He'll come out with most of the 50-50 passes. And he's got a good size and build, and he's got a good run after catch abilities too. He's not obviously as fast as the other guys. And then his strengths are a little bit different than the other guys that we just talked about. He's going to be, he has a quality route running technique. Like I said, he's very competitive when it comes to 50-50 balls. He has a good size, and he can really use his strength and size to, like, shield the defenders away from the football. And he's a good runner. He's not a speedy guy, but he's a really good runner with good body control. He's competitive. That you can't take that away from him. Most people are going to say that, he lacks the speed to mismatch the corners, but I mean, he does really well with what he has, as far as his smarts and route running abilities to offset that. And then, like I said, he's elusive enough that he can provide a lot of big play abilities too. He's a big guy, like bigger guy than the other guys that are coming out. So he's going to have a solid career. And I can comfortably say that he's my third favorite receiver over Devontae Smith. But like I said, it's not taking away from Devontae Smith at all. It's just I just really like these two guys, Jalen Waddle and Rashad Bateman, over him.
Yeah, I do too. I absolutely agree with you. I am on the Jalen Waddle train. I want him at 12. If he is there, that's who I want. Over Devontae Smith. Like, if we have the option to choose between the two of them, I want Jalen Waddle. I just do. But here, let's go ahead and get to a couple of these comments. Jalen Waddle was injured though, says Toxic Falcons. Yeah, but he's going to be better by the time mini camps roll around if we have them, and he'll be fine. I'm pretty sure he's on the road to that anyway. And obviously, Patrick, there was the comment by Toxic Falcons that he said receivers are only good as if they have a good quarterback. And clearly, where I go with that. I do agree with that. And Big Play says that's so misconducted at Toxic Falcons, because if that were the case, why isn't Max Jones considered an elite quarterback in this year's draft? Well, there's two things I want to address here. And that is, even though we haven't seen the type of production that we would like to see from him, just one reference point is Jalen Reagor. He did an okay job in his final year at TCU, but he had horrible quarterback play. And then obviously, as we know, that's been done in the past. And Big Play Slay's reference there is an okay one. But I mean, Mac Jones had 1 year. We don't know. We don't know what would have happened if he had a couple more years. You know what I mean? But go ahead. You want to touch on that, Patrick?
It's yes and no. I mean, that quarterback receiver relationship is super important, just because obviously the receivers can run their routes and create the mismatch and create the separation. Quarterback has to put the ball in the right place for you to do that. But I mean, it's not all the way, I think some receivers, obviously having a good quarterback is essential to receiver success, but some receivers are able to, defy that, in my opinion. And I think we have a very good example here in our backyard for me and DB is Larry Fitzgerald. I think he's a really good example that you can still be a very productive receiver without a good quarterback play. But I'm not discounting that at all. Like I said, I mean, it's a very simple equation. I mean, you do have to have a good quarterback for you to succeed. But just kind of going off of Larry Fitzgerald's career, I mean, DB and I've watched him closely here in Arizona. He's had Carson Palmer, he's had Kurt Warner, and now he had Kyler Murray for a couple seasons. But after that, tell me if you recognize any of these names. Josh McCown. Yeah. Josh McCown has carved up a decent career, but John Skelton, Josh Rosen, you guys all know Kevin Cobb, Matt Leinart. Yep.
Gabby. Back in corn on the Cobb.
Eric Anderson, Drew Stanton, Blaine Gabbert, Max Hall, Richard Bartell, Sean King, Brian St. Pierre. How many of these guys have you heard of? And he's had a Hall of Fame career. So I think
a lot of us. I mean, here's the thing: Drew Stanton. I mean, I mean, I can't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Drew Stanton was considered, a fantasy option at one point or the other because he was a starter for the Cardinals for one point.
No, I mean, it's not. I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about the quality of quarterback play. I'm not trying to take.
Of course, no. And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing too. To absolutely shut down that philosophy, Toxic Falcons is Patrick's reference is perfect because not only was it Larry Fitzgerald, but it was also Anquan Bolden, who was racking up 800-yard receiving seasons and 10 receiving touchdown seasons as well to go along with Larry Fitzgerald's, Hall of Fame career with those types of quarterbacks. So Big Play says DB's about to eat up your words. Yeah, I don't really have to because there's only one real reference that needs to be made, and Patrick did it for me. So thank you, Patrick, for keeping me from having to feel like I want to blow a blood vessel. Yeah, one reference is needed. I mean, Donovan McNabb, was not really good in his decline. I know that's not that might not be the popular thing to say, but he wasn't. But when his career started to decline and Deshaun Jackson still was able to take off during his rookie year and things of that nature. And so there's that, I don't know. Cam Newton always threw about 56, completion percentage and that I consider that sucky as shit. And Greg Olson still considered to be a badass. There's a bunch. There's a bunch of them. I can't. I don't want to touch that one. We don't have to. We don't have to go into that any more than we need to. Because wide receivers make the guy too. It's a team effort. Wide receivers make the quarterback too. So there's that. Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, Steve Young and Jerry Rice. And then
just using Falcons as an example, Matt Ryan wouldn't be anywhere close without Julio Jones too,
Exactly. So there's that. And do you think Steve Young would be Steve Young was in the conversation to be the best quarterback of all time along with Joe Montana for the longest time. But is that because they were both really great or they both had the common denominator, which was Jerry Rice? I mean, they were both great. They were both really good, but Jerry Rice also has to be given some credit for that too. You know what I mean? So it's a shindig. It's a shindig. We're digging up some shins, and it's just not making sense at this point. I say we move on.
Moving on.
So another thing, the Cowboys are interested. I brought this up earlier, but it was before you got on. The Cowboys are interested in bringing in Jaron Reed from the Seattle Seahawks. Patrick, how do you feel about that?
I did. I talked about Jaron Reed the other day a little bit. He's still a force. He's still a force. And then just the idea that the Cowboys are trying to bring him in for a visit should scare any Philadelphia fans. The Seahawks are doing everything they could to get something for him, but he just became a cap casualty. He's actually a decently healthy guy for a D tackle. He started all 16 games last season, and he's had, I think, 6.5 sacks altogether. So he's a very productive guy. He's going to bolster any team that he goes to, especially the Cowboys. So that's something to keep an eye out for. I know the Bengals are interested in him too. So I think so far it just comes out the Bengals and the Cowboys.
I agree. Here's the thing to just as far as the mock is concerned, is it is important to keep in mind that the Cowboys might want to bolster their DL at 11 or 10, and it might be a reach, but it's like, that there is a difference between a defensive lineman at 10 and a defensive lineman in the second round, and Christian Barmore at 10 for them, or maybe Kwity Paye at 10 or, something else along those lines. Might not be a bad idea, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how we'll see. Jalen Hurtsme says, can you guys talk about your top picks for Eagles would be at 12? Well, I feel like we already did. It depends on who's there. And honestly, if it's like JC Horn and Jalen Waddle's not there, I would say JC Horn. If Caleb Farley or Patrick, it depends. Like I kind of really want Jalen Waddle. I wouldn't mind JC Horn at 12. I wouldn't mind Farley or Surtain. I wouldn't mind Parsons. All of the guys that we've talked about, I wouldn't mind. There's a lot of guys there that are going to be that we're still going to have the strawberry bushes to pick from. Patrick, do you want to revisit that real quick?
Yeah. What was the question? Who the Eagles will take?
The top picks, top picks.
I like receiver. I like the two Alabama guys. Yeah, Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle would be a home run pick there.
I agree.
If they go defense, I would be more comfortable going JC Horn just because of his freakish nature that he is. Caleb Farley.
Super freak.
Yeah.
Super freak.
Caleb Farley was God, you're running me off my train.
Caleb
Farley was you're doing a great
job.
You're
driving trains now?
Yeah, man. That's what I do for work, guys.
Damn, man. You're a train conductor. So from touring to train to becoming a train conductor. I must have missed the memo. You remember my email address, don't you?
I do.
I don't think you do, actually, but it's okay.
I don't.
It's all right.
What were we talking about? I forgot.
JC Horn.
Oh, yeah. No,
he's a freak of nature.
Two Alabama receivers or JC Horn for me. Caleb Farley, he was my number one cornerback coming in, but I think his back issue with his surgery is kind of a concern. If he can come back from it, I think he'll still be a Pro Bowl cornerback, obviously. But yeah, either the Alabama receivers or Horn, I'd be okay, honestly, if the Eagles went offensive line. If Slater falls to them, that's a steal. If they go Darisaw, I totally understand. But I think it really comes down to the two Alabama guys or JC Horn.
I feel you. Dak is king says I know. We're talking about that right now, Dak. God, Cowboys fans. I'm just playing. I agree. I agree with those completely. I think it should be either the two Alabama wide receivers or it should be JC Horn. I really do. I like the lineage. I'm honestly higher on JC Horn than probably Surtain. I think you're still pretty high on Surtain, aren't you, Patrick?
What?
You're higher on Surtain. You've got him ranked out of those three, right? Surtain, Farley, Horn.
Surtain's my number 3 out of them, but I still think he's going to carve out a good career. But out of the 3, I like Horn the best at this point.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, Caleb Farley, I just slid down my board just a little bit just because of his back surgery, like I said. But I think Caleb Farley and JC Horn are both going to be a great cornerback. Patrick Surtain, I'm a little less certain about, but I think he might carve out a decent career.
Certain.
Yeah, it's spelled
wow. That's crazy. No, I am too. He's actually my third guy too. We actually have it's kind of crazy that our cornerback rankings have changed. We're just so in sync. It's so nice. It's so nice, guys. Yeah, no, I have Horn ranked number 1. I have Farley ranked number 2. I have Surtain ranked number 3. And then I have Samuel Jr. ranked number 4. I'm not as high on the Newsome. I'm not really. I'm getting there with Newsome. Not quite there yet, but I'm getting there. You definitely know I'm high on Sean Wade, but I'm not ranking him at 5 by any means.
No.
But it's a deep cornerback. It's a deep cornerback class for sure. So
Yeah. I mean, Newsom and Samuel would be the next two. I mean, and then you go get into like the second round talents, like Tyson Campbell from Georgia, would be like the next up. And I can never say his name, but Malafanu from Syracuse. He's a
I
good
thought,
cornerback.
is it like Ifani
Yeah,
Melanfanu?
Ifatu Malafanu, Aaron Robinson from UCF.
Yeah.
Great cornerback. These are all the second day guys like Elijah Molden out of Washington. I mean, it's ridiculous how deep this class is in cornerback. So
And then there's this guy that I love to go back to because he's built up steam. It seems like he's higher in the rankings, and it's Javon Holland.
yeah,
They still have him listed as a cornerback.
yeah. I feel like he's going to be more of a hybrid, but I feel like he's going to get bulk of his play time at safety first. But yeah, I mean, I'm not taking that away from him. So
Yeah. So there's gonna be things to do. There's gonna be things to do, guys, and 12 is gonna be hard to mess up. And I like that we're going in depth again about this because we got what 4 weeks, 4.5 weeks, 5 weeks till the
yes,
draft.
sir.
Nice. Let's talk about this. What the F is going on with Steven Nelson, Patrick?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I know.
Absolutely nothing.
What's going on with Cameron Sutton?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like I said, the entire news just stopped coming. Like it just stopped. There's nothing going on.
The DB from Syracuse. Oh yeah, the DB from Syracuse. Okay.
Yeah.
News. I kind of want to talk about this a little bit because I mean, clearly Steven Nelson is going to upgrade some secondaries, not just the Eagles. It wouldn't have just been, the Cardinals had he signed with them. Like it wouldn't be the Jet. It wouldn't just be the Jets if he had signed with them or whoever. Like there's a good amount of teams like he could go to and upgrade.
Sure.
Where do you think that is? Do you think it's just a money thing or what?
Yeah, I think it ultimately comes down to the money. And we talked about it kind of with Malcolm Butler. Him taking that small deal with the Cardinals. That was you're talking about a guy that has 6 picks and over 100 tackles last year, and that's only getting $3 million bucks. Steven Nelson obviously probably was expecting a little bit more coming in. So I think that's where the difference is. I think we lost DB here for a little bit, but yeah, I think guys, that's what it really comes down to. Steven Nelson needs to. He's looking for a team that can make a little bit of money, but I think he just don't have that ability to do so. So I think that's where it comes down to, guys. I mean, oh, there he is. He came back. So
sorry.
Yeah, so we're kind of just like wait and see mode as far as he's going. And like DB said, he's gonna make any team better. But so far it's been a fairly slow news for Steven Nelson. So we'll see where his market kind of goes. But yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. But big play Slade, just big shout out to you, man. Syracuse. I used to go up there all the time when I lived in Brooklyn. So big time New York guy here.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I actually clicked on the wrong X, the tabs. But anyway, yeah, I knew a girl named Sierra once. Her middle name was Q's.
Shut up.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because I mean these guys can clearly ball. And I think that maybe teams are waiting for them to go into the third tier of free agency. What is the third tier anyway? Is that after the first initial 15-day?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, and that makes sense. I think we're in the second. I think we're ending the second tier now. So tomorrow would be the start of the third. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I mean, it's just nuts. Kane Grayson, I have a question. He says, "Do you honestly foresee Jalen Hurts being as good as Baker or Kyler?" Um, it's a good question. That's a phenomenal question. I foresee potential, for him to be. I foresee potential for him to be as good as Baker. Kyler, I don't know. I think Kyler's still working on his potential. Kyler's ceiling is really, really high.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I do have a good feeling that we're going to see Jalen Hurts be better than if Jalen Hurts puts it together and plays well for the Philadelphia Eagles this season. If he in fact is the starter and something crazy doesn't happen, I think he could supplant Baker Mayfield this year. Baker Mayfield hasn't really done much, guys. He hasn't really done much. I talked about this, what was it, a week ago? He's been inconsistent. He's been really inconsistent. Like, the team didn't make it to the playoffs because of Baker Mayfield. They made it to the playoffs because Nick Chubb just happens to be an absolute fucking perfectly coiffed, cooked pair of pancakes. Nick Chubb's a badass. That's basically what I'm saying. Don't be hating on my man Baker, says Big Play Slay. I'm not hating on I'm not hating. I said this before, man. I'm just saying I would like to see more consistency out of Baker. He's got Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. the last God how many years? Like 5? 3? 3, right? I think it's 3.
Yeah, top 5, bro.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think he's been in the league for 5.
I'm being hyperbolic.
I know.
I'm being hyperbolic. But like, they have a ton of playmakers. Like, Baker should be more consistent, guys. Baker should be more consistent. He has every right and everything at his disposal to be more consistent, and he just hasn't done it. And so I'm not hating. I have a lot of faith in Baker. It's like Carson Wentz last year. It's like, you should be playing better. It's a little bit different, actually. I'm not even going to go there. Don't let me go there, Patrick.
I won't.
Don't let me go there. Big Play says, King Grayson, no, he doesn't have the skill set. He has potential, but the team around him isn't as fully invested to be built around him. Hold on. Big Play Slay says he's been in an above average situation for like 3 years, and the 1 year that he gets okay player makers, he's even better. Yeah, I think we're talking about Baker here. Patrick, I want you to talk about Kyler, because, as you know, you and I both had a lot of love for Kyler coming out of college into the draft. He lands into a perfect situation with his former college coach, Cliff Kingsbury. And dude has an absolute rocket. Dude's fast. Obviously, we know he has an absolute rocket. You know, he's supposed to be a shortstop. Am I correct on that? For the MLB, and decided not to go play. But here, that's neither here nor there. He's got a rocket. He's fast. He's a little bit undersized, but he seems to continue to at least get a little bit better each year that he's been in the league. What do you see from Kyler moving forward? What would you like to see from Kyler moving forward? And what do you think he can work on?
Yeah, all correct. One exception, quick correction is that Cliff Kingsbury didn't actually coach him in college. Yeah, he just had a lot of ties to him because of his Texas. You know, when he was coaching in Texas Tech, he recruited him a lot to come over. But obviously Kyler went to Oklahoma.
That's right.
But then they knew each other for a long time. So obviously that's Cliff Kingsbury definitely runs his entire offense through Kyler and is designed for him. So I'm going to get back to that point a little bit later. But yeah, Kyler, he's very good in short windows. But when you're comparing the 3 quarterbacks, when you come down to Baker, Kyler, and Jalen Hurts at Oklahoma, it really comes down to the intermediate or deep passes. Murray was arguably better than all those guys. He has a lot of edge. A lot of Oklahoma's RPO concepts work really well for Kyler, and then the Cardinals try to run the similar things. Kyler can really throw down the field. I mean, as you guys all saw, we talked about it. That pass to DeAndre Hopkins against the Bills. A lot of times, like the question mark for Kyler Murray was with his size, him being only 5'10", 5'11", is he going to be able to see above these big guys and really throw that deep down the field ball? But he's been able to. He has a really good arc on his ball, and he has really good ball placements compared to all the other guys that we were talking about. Every time I talk about ball placements.
Well, you hit me with a joke. You hit me with a joke that I did.
Yeah.
So now I kind of got to egg you and Big Play Slay on by throwing in some shade. You know what I mean?
You're
gotta get an umbrella sometimes for your schnaz.
Yeah. God, you're throwing me off again. What was I talking about?
You're talking about his ball placement, Kyler Murray.
Oh yeah. He's a talented guy. We talked about it. He's got a good arm. He's got an above average accuracy that's only getting better. He can really push the ball down the field. And he shows really good timing, and then he'll find the guys that's open. He can go from his option 1 to option 2 on like split second. And then we haven't even talked about his feet at all. He's got that speed, man. You see him running, and it's crazy how fast he can escape the defense. He misses tackles. He can really escape the pressure. And then the one thing that I was really impressed with him from his rookie season onto his Pro Bowl season, his last year, was his ability to really like stay in the pocket. He really waits until the last possible second that he has to run away from the pocket. And he can really extend the play with his feet, and then you can, we saw it too before he got hurt. The defense were adjusting to his ability. So like when they were kind of clouding the pocket, he was able to run around and really rush and gain some yards. And then when they had a scout, for him to, prevent him from running, he was able to find like a deep receiver and then throw down the field. So he's got a lot of abilities. Like I said, you want to see a little bit more consistency. Towards the end of the season, you were kind of seeing that he was relying on his legs a lot, and especially when he got hurt and he wasn't able to run to his full potential, you really saw his game kind of go one-dimensional again. And I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was Big Play Slay or someone else that mentioned it, or I don't know if it was Kane, somebody, but the big difference between Kyler and Baker is the fact that these are franchise quarterbacks, and they are really surrounding him with the right amount of talent, right kind of guys to surround him with, and their plays are built around them. So that's one thing that's kind of detrimental to Jalen Hurts. I hope if they do commit to him, they really do commit to him, meaning build the plays around for him, bring the players that really fit his style of play, because you need all those pieces in place for the quarterbacks to really develop. So it's
just to touch on that real quick. What Baker has in Cleveland has John Dorsey written all over it. And we see that in Kansas City, and we see that in Cleveland, and we might see that in Detroit. At some point, they went and they got Damian Williams, running back for Deuce Staley in Detroit, and Detroit made a couple other moves too. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. But just to tie this into the Eagles real quick is that I hope that his year spent with Howie Roseman as a consultant, that a blueprint was put together, to be able to find a way to have a successful draft, and what it looks like to surround your quarterback with a successful team. Because that's exactly what he did for the Chiefs. That's exactly what he did for the Browns. That's because that's exactly, Patrick, you're exactly right. That's exactly what Jalen Hurts needs. I think Miles Sanders is a good start. But we need like the Jalen. We need like a D-Hop. We need like a Tyreek Hill. We need playmakers all across the board. I think I'm more impressed with the job that I really am. I'm more impressed with the job that he did in Cleveland than he did in Kansas City because they are like stocked. Like you think about it, like he traded like they got OBJ. You know, they traded for Jarvis Landry. Um, did they trade for Jarvis Landry? Or did they sign Jarvis Landry? I think they
They
signed.
traded for him, I
They
think.
traded. Okay, so they traded for
Yeah.
OBJ. They traded for Jarvis Landry. They drafted Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams. Like Jabril Peppers was on that team at one point too before he went to you know before he went to the Giants. All of these, like Nick Chubb, like all like you guys know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm getting at. And so like I hope that the year spent with Howie Roseman for Shindig, I can't even remember his name now. John Dorsey was a good one. Like I hope Howie learned something. I really do. I really do. The other thing too, to address that as well, though, it's hard and it's not really fair to judge Jalen and put him in that comparison bubble right now to those two quarterbacks. You know, he was running behind a patchwork offensive line and he was running for his life and he had to throw some balls away, which is something that Carson didn't do. Um, and so that added to his completion percentage, obviously, or that subtracted from his completion percentage, obviously. But you know, he Patrick, we've talked about this. We're all very very intrigued. We're all very intrigued. We all feel very good about the promise and potential that Jalen Hurts offers moving forward.
Correct. I mean, like I said, I'm on the train. Like long when we first started this, I was on board with just giving him some time to really develop and kind of going all in. Surrounding him with the good talent. When this happened with Carson Wentz, I kind of wanted them to do that, and then I think they still should. I think he has a world of talent from everything that I've seen him play. And then I think the Eagles out to give him some opportunity. And then it starts with this draft. It starts with surrounding him with the right kind of guys. And it's not just the most talented guys. When it comes to this, you have to surround him with the right kind of guys. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah. That's and I'm going to go with this one too. It's a great question. King Grayson says, "Thank you for answering that. If you don't mind me asking this, Eagles, I feel like would need offensive line first and foremost. Am I wrong to think that it starts with building the line?" No, I don't think you're wrong.
Not at all.
I don't think you're wrong with thinking that at all. I think that's actually usually how he does do it through the lines. But here's the thing too, is we're so loaded on draft capital for next year. I mean, they can wait a little bit to go high with building through the lines. My thing is that when it comes to the offensive linemen, we saw a lot of promise out of Jordan Mailata. I wanted to see more, man. I wanted to see more. And for some reason, they moved him when Peters came back. Like nothing they did made sense. Unfortunately, Jack Driscoll got hurt, but he played three positions and did a solid job at three positions. He played a little bit of center. It was only about a game and a half, I think, but like he played right guard and he played a little bit of right tackle too. And so like I'm really excited for the progression of Jack Driscoll. Nate Herbig did a phenomenal job. Now I'm not ready to commit to Nate Herbig, but like we've got a lot of young offensive linemen that played pretty well. And I think I addressed this before where I said, if we can come away with Creed Humphrey or maybe a Drake Jackson out of Kentucky or Josh Myers out of Ohio State in this draft, and then maybe Michael Manet out of PSU, in this draft, two of those guys, or two out of the guys that I just mentioned, I feel like we would be in pretty good shape because there's something similar about each one of those guys in that they do have versatility. Patrick, you can jump on this too. Is Creed Humphrey obviously has versatility all on the inside of the offensive line. Obviously Michael Manet out of Penn State, he's played all offensive line positions. He's played center, he's played guard. Actually the PSU website does list him as an offensive tackle, but PFF lists him as a center. So he could eventually be a replacement for Jason Kelsey. There's a lot of depth in this draft again, for offensive line. And so if we needed to go ahead and upgrade at that position, we could certainly do that next year. Obviously, the 3 first-round picks that we have in next year's draft, we could get a stud defensive lineman, we could get a stud offensive tackle, and we could do more. Howie, with this trade, I gotta say this: Howie did a good job of making sure that we have options moving forward. And Patrick, if you wanna put in your 2 cents on everything I just said, go for it.
No.
Go for it, Patrick.
You really put it really well. Usually, I like to come in and kind of say my couple things, but you actually did really well with that statement. I don't have a whole lot to add. That's actually a really good question, and I actually appreciate you asking this because I agree with it. It starts at the line. It starts at the trenches, and that's a really good way to build your team, in my opinion. Most successful teams have a really good defensive line and offensive line. Given that, if the Eagles were to go that route in the first round, I don't think that's a bad option at all. If they are really sold on Jalen Hurts as a quarterback, I think it's a good option. I talked about it multiple times to pair him up with a young tackle and kind of develop them together. I think it's essential to have that left tackle or right tackle on the blind side, and then with a quarterback they can kind of develop together. I think that's like super important. But given Eagles roster right now, I'm like looking at who they have on their line. Am I completely sold and comfortable going with Andre Dillard and Lane Johnson at tackles? Jason Kelsey up the middle.
Andre Dillard wouldn't be the starter.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Or like Sam Allo or Brooks up at guards. Interior linemen. Like you can definitely improve upon that. But like looking at their receivers, it's kind of just more of a concern for me. You currently have Jalen Reagor, Greg Ward, John Hightower, Quez Watkins. I'm not taking anything away from those guys. I think you need a little bit more help over there. And then Eagles definitely do need some more excitement in their playmakers. So I think that's a route that I go. But you're absolutely right, though. Like, it starts at the trenches. And I agree with what DB just said. I think you can pick up some good offensive line prospects later on, but it's the same can be said for the receivers. We talked about it. If Rashawn Slater falls to 12, and if the Eagles go that route, that's an amazing pick at 12, and you're going to have options to pick up different receivers at the second round at 37. And we talked about a couple different guys. We talked about Marshall, we talked about Kadarius Toney, Elijah Moore. So Eagles definitely do have an option there. So I don't think that's a bad idea at all. I agree with both of you with everything that you said. And it's always a good idea to build a team from the trenches. So it's a really good question.
Yeah. If you wanted to, Darisaw, if you wanted to, and they might, it's a very Howie Roseman thing to do. If Slater falls at 12, if they decide that they like Darisaw, if they decide that they like Elijah Vera Tucker, it might be a little high, but Patrick really likes him. And I do too. But I think it's a little high it's a little high at 12, but I think it's not far off.
Right.
So they certainly could go that route, and then yeah, you can get a guy like Bateman, or you can get a guy like Rondell Moore, you can get a guy like Kadarius Toney at 37. As far as the wide receiver, I want to talk about the wide receivers for a second here, because I think they see Travis Fulgham as a number one going into the season, guys. And I think that they're going to try, obviously they're going to have Reagor in the slot, whether that's full-time or not. I think what we're going to see a lot out of Sirianni is situational slot or situational packages until they find a guy who can really just do it all. And that might be Jalen Waddle. I actually think, as far as Jalen Waddle compared to the guys that we have, I think Jalen Waddle can do it all. Or Devontae Smith, but until we have a guy like that, he's gonna do something like a situational role package. So I could see Quez actually playing on the outside more than we see a Jalen Rager at this point in time. So but I definitely see them doing Travis Fulgham as the number one. If we're looking at the roster right now, I think that's how you have to look at it. As Travis Fulgham is going to be number one. All right, and then am I the only one who wants Edge at first? Could you please touch on this? No, Jalen hurts me. No, you're not. No, you're not. I wouldn't mind taking Jason away at pick 12 whatsoever. Reason being is he could line up at linebacker and he could line up as an edge rusher. And I also wouldn't mind taking Zavon Collins either, but I mean Zavon Collins is kind of falling in a lot of mocks. Patrick, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think Zavon Collins. I mean, he's still a first round talent. He's going to go before top 20. I think his fall is not because of not a result of him necessarily like people doubting his ability. I think it's just some guys just shooting up the draft board. We talked about it. Zavon Collins was easily a top 15 pick, but he's kind of fallen down to like around the like late teens or 20s. Just because of guys like, Christian Darrisaw, you talked about, he's been shooting up the draft board. Elijah Vera Tucker's been shooting up the draft board. JC Horn, obviously. So, and Mac Jones, so it's not necessarily a result of him falling off people's board. I think it's just there are, some other guys that's necessarily shooting up. Yeah. So, no, edge rusher is not a bad choice at all. Like I said, this draft is so deep, you can't go wrong. Yeah. It's just, if you can go Jason Noe, Kwity Paye, that's an amazing option. But honestly, it's just. I think DB and I agree on this. I think if him and I were running the team, I think we would go offense just because of all the aforementioned reasons. But if you were to go like Micah Parsons, Zavon Collins as a linebacker, if you were to go edge like Away or Kwity Paye, or if you were to go offensive lineman like we talked about, those are not bad picks at all.
Parsons would be phenomenal, and there's things I want to talk about that too, like especially when it comes to Darius Leonard and how that entire defense in Indy turned around. But we will leave that for another day. You guys, thank you so much for joining the chat today. One love. You guys were all phenomenal. Kane Grayson, welcome to the chat, my man. It's always great to have a new person in here. Please like and subscribe. And Jalen hurts me. Always good to see you, brother. Big Play Slave, if you're still in here, man. One love. Dak is king. King Miro. All of the above, all of you guys. And this is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles, live with Patrick J. You guys have a beautiful rest of your Sunday evening. Stay safe, stay healthy, and go Birds, baby.